Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a verdict in the Richard Allen Delphi murder case of two young little girls in Delphi, Indiana. And the verdict is Richard Allen is guilty. I'm not really sure how I feel about this verdict. In a lot of ways, I'm concerned, especially about Brian Koberger in Idaho. I'm JB Gunner. This is Crime Time. Let's get into it. Let's do it.
Bring it back.
What's going on, everybody? As you guys know, I'm JB Gunner, and this is Crime Time. Now, before we get started, let me first and foremost say thank you to everybody supporting the channel. Hell, any of my channels, all my channels, regardless of platform, regardless of method you choose, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Truth is, guys, I couldn't do this each and every day as often as I do on all these channels for the last 18 years if it wasn't for you, the Gun Squad. I love you guys so much. And if you too find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Join the Gun Squad. Support the channel. It's what allows me to stay uncensored and do exactly what I do, is your support. You can also find the links to my other channels down there, man. I got 24 of them. A lot of different type of content that I do. I want to get into this story, though. 2017. Two young girls were brutally murdered around Deer Creek area in Delphi, Indiana. When this all happened, for several years we had no suspect. 5 years, I believe. And then a couple years back, they went and arrested this man, Richard Allen. He was a local family man, worked at CVS. And throughout a lot of this case, I did not believe he was guilty at all. And then came the news that there was 62, 63, whatever, confessions. And I said, man, we don't confess unless we did it. And then, as I'm listening, covering the trial, day in, day out, there came a couple of incidents that made me hold up and be like, you know what, I don't know if he did it or not. I expected this case this morning to maybe end in a hung jury or not guilty because it took 4 days to deliberate. However, they have found him guilty. And we'll get into that. We'll get into how I feel about all that here in just a second. But anyway, Richard Allen, let me go ahead and take this off here. Richard Allen found guilty in the murders of two teen girls in Delphi, Indiana. What now? A jury of 5 men, 7 women, on Monday found Richard Allen guilty on all 4 charges in the deaths of Abigail Abby Williams and Liberty Libby German. The jury convicted the 52-year-old Delphi man on 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of murder while kidnapping the girls. The long-awaited decision is one of Indiana's most high-profile murder cases. Comes more than 7 years. After 7 years of investigation, 3 weeks of testimony, 18 hours of deliberation. Everybody knows they went on the hike on the Monon High Bridge, were forced down the hill, taken to a nearby woods, where they claim Richard Allen killed them by slashing their throats. The verdict is an affirmation of years-long and at times criticized law enforcement investigation of the girls' deaths. No, it was a horrible investigation. Those Indiana cops fucked everything up. I believe there was a lot, and I mean a lot, of cover-up in this case. Do I believe Richard Allen did it? We'll talk about that in a minute. Although it may provide some closure for their families, the jury's decision is unlikely to be the end of the case. Allen is definitely going to appeal, which I actually think he has a good chance at winning. The case against Allen relied largely on unspent round found between the girls' bodies that investigators alleged had been cycled through Allen's gun, and on dozens of confessions Allen made while awaiting trial in prison. It's pretty much what we know is going on. Let's see what the media is talking about, the people that was there at the trial.
After about 19 hours of deliberating for the jury, they found Richard Allen guilty on all 4 charges in the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. More than 7.5 years of waiting for the family of Abby and Libby. And I can tell you, when the verdict was read, everyone was crying, both Richard Allen's family and Abby and Libby's family. Many members of Libby's family kind of saying yes when that first count of guilty verdict was read. Those 4 charges: count 1, felony murder, found guilty on all 4 counts. Count 1, felony murder for the death of Abigail Williams. Count 2, felony murder for the death of Liberty German. count 3 for the killing of Abigail Williams, and count 4 for the killing of Liberty German, something the family has been waiting for 7.5 years to hear. When the verdict was read, the family, as I just mentioned, started crying, started hugging each other, and just as the family was about to leave after the jury read their verdict, it only took a couple of minutes for that to be read. Many of the family members were hugging investigators. Investigators were crying. The prosecution team was crying, but they also were smiling.
That's
These were obvious
crazy.
happy tears. It's a lot. It's a lot for this family to be dealing with for all of this time, waiting 19 hours or so to hear that verdict. And after the verdict was read, the defense team actually asked for a roll call from every single one of the jury members to confirm that it was their belief that Richard Allen was to be found guilty on all 4 charges. The entire 12-person jury answered the judge saying, yes, that was their verdict. Now, when it was read, Richard Allen's family, they were seen crying. Richard Allen's wife could not get up. She sat in her chair. She couldn't get up. Richard Allen's mother also struggling to stand up, having to be
That's gotta be hard, man.
held up by family members, and even parts of the defense team were wrapping their arms around the Allen family. As for Richard Allen himself, he was sitting down, showed no emotion when that verdict was read, motionless the entire time, as all.
Now that's a little creepy.
All 4 counts were read in this case against him.
But
now,
then again, what do you say? What do you do? If you're just sitting there and your whole life just ended in one verdict.
Prosecutor Nicholas McLeland laid out a timeline from February 13th of 2017. And in that timeline, the prosecutor told the jury that Richard Allen put himself on the trail that day. They said that Richard Allen, when he was confessing more than 60.
By the way, I just want to make this clear to any of you, man. Stop telling on yourselves, man. Why would you put your, why would you even do this? And listen, I'm not trying to, look, we'll talk about who I think's guilty, not guilty here in just a second. But man, so why do all you motherfuckers always tell on yourself? It's a goddamn double murder and you're like, I was there. Well, you're a dummy. You deserve what you get, man. Just for being a dummy, whether you did it or didn't do it, just for being that goddamn dumb. And then to confess over the phones, you're a dumb motherfucker, man. I'm tired of all this shit. Like, I don't understand why people turn themselves in. What is wrong with you people? You're one of them people it was justice for the kids. No, there is no such thing as justice for the kids. They're dead. They're motherfucking dead. They don't know. They don't know the difference. Whether Richard Allen went to prison, the kids don't know. They just know they're dead as fuck. I don't understand. Like, I feel like I'm the only logical motherfucker on the planet. Like, why would you put yourself in that position and put yourself there? And listen, all the goobers in the chat room with Hostess Twinkies all shoved in their assholes, they're all going to sit here and say something about maybe he wanted to be held accountable or maybe he felt guilty. No, he was just dumb. People that commit crimes don't feel guilty. It's just not the way it works. I'm telling you now. How do I know? Because I've committed crimes in my past. I don't feel guilty for none of that shit. If you motherfuckers bought drugs off me in the past, why would I feel guilty for that? If you got your ass beat by me in the past, why would I feel guilty for that? I'm a firm believer. If a motherfucker gets their ass whooped, they ask for the ass whooping. I don't understand. And I'm telling you, I've hung around criminals. They don't feel guilty either. Now, I'm a grown man, conservative, Trump supporters, hashtag MAGA. I don't, crimes, no. But what I do know is that people that commit crimes typically don't feel guilty for the shit. People turn themselves in because they think it's a good idea. They try to outsmart the police. That's not the way it works. You never get time off for turning yourself in. I was on the run 4 years, and I got less time when I finally got caught than I would have got when the incident went down. And the reason for that is people forget a lot of things in 4 years. A lot of things. A lot of this shit is crazy, man. Crazy. We'll talk about what I think about the case in a minute.
Times had information that only the killer would know. And they said in those confessions, Richard Allen was detailing what happened in this crime. And there also was that bullet found at the crime scene. The jury ultimately siding with the prosecution. The expert witness for the prosecution saying that the bullet found at the crime scene between Abby and Libby's bodies had been cycled through Richard Allen's gun. The defense said it was an untrusted science. But of
It
course,
is an
the
untrusted
jury deciding
science.
that it should be trusted. And I'm sure that's one of the pieces of evidence the jury considered. A number of phone call interviews, a number of video of Richard Allen inside
gotta remember,
the cell.
they
The
heard
defense
him
said he was
confess.
mentally unwell. The jury deciding otherwise. Again, the family escorted out together, but all of the family just kind of holding each other today. And it's a bit of a celebration for those family members of Abby and Libby. And of course, very hard for Richard Allen's family to understand that Richard Allen is going to be sentenced and found guilty on all 4 charges. His sentencing is set for December, later in December.
December 20th.
Where he will be sentenced on all 4 of those charges.
December
But again,
20th.
Richard Allen has been found guilty on all 4 counts in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
He's going to be sentenced December 20th, right before Christmas. Here's the deal. I don't blame the jury here. The dude confessed 62 times. He put himself at the fucking location. I do think that he can win his appeal, though. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they can corrupt police shit, investigative issues. I do not blame the jury here for finding him guilty. He did this to himself, man. Dumb, stupid motherfucker. You did this to yourself. If you didn't kill them girls, you're the dummy that put yourself here. Jury believed he did. The people that was in that courtroom that heard the court, so you got to remember, you and I are just people on the internet. Those people in that courtroom heard the confessions. And yes, I know you're going to come back to me and mention Andrea Burkhardt, like you always do. JB, do you watch other YouTubers? No. Maybe you should. No, I shouldn't. I have a job and I work all day. Okay? And when I get off work, I like to get my dick sucked and eat and drink and play video games. I have a lot of respect for Andrea Burkhardt. A lot of respect. And all these other cocksuckers. Well, I don't have respect for all the other cocksuckers you tell me to watch. But my take on this is that jury, they sat in that courtroom and they heard this man's confessions. None of you motherfuckers did. Not a single person watching this heard those confessions but those jurors. Now, what is crazy about this is the judge kept the gag order. The gag order still exists till after sentencing. That's a little, shady. I do believe Richard Allen has a real chance at winning on appeal. And a lot of it's because of all the missteps and mistakes from the police, all the cover-up type shit. There's not really a whole lot of evidence. But putting myself in the position of the juror, I understand why they found him guilty. I wouldn't have, because I would have to find him guilty without a reasonable doubt. And I have a reasonable doubt. But I also believe Richard Allen put himself here. He's the dummy that led himself to this problem by A, telling the police out of nowhere he's the one that was there, and then B, confessing to it 62 motherfucking times. And listen, I'm not like a lot of you people, man. I'm not overdosed on Hostess. Like, I understand. I'm not going to come up with conspiracy theories. He was tortured, JB. How do you know? That was Libby's sister's hair in her hands. How do you know? They didn't say that at all. Look, man, I accept this verdict, but this makes me worry for Brian Kohlberger. Because these big cases, these big public national cases, they tend to always work out this way. And this makes me feel like they're going to find Brian Kohlberger guilty too. Richard Allen, he's earned his guilty. I do think that the case may be sent back after the appeal. But I think that Richard Allen. Do I think Richard Allen's guilty? I don't know. I don't know too many people that would admit to something like this without doing it. I'm not going to be like you guys and say, everybody's innocent. No. This is concerning, though, because I don't believe there was enough evidence to find him guilty. I just don't. But I also was not in that courtroom hearing those confessions. So this is one verdict that I accept, and I'll take it. Because you know what? They did hear the confessions. We didn't. But they did take a long time to come up with this verdict. And there could be reasons for that. There could be a lot of doubt in them jurors' minds. And maybe the confessions is what did it. I damn sure it wasn't the bullet. Not really. I mean, because the bullet's junk science. I think we all understand this. But I accept this verdict, and I think justice was gotten, if you want to use that word. I trust the verdict. I trust the jurors. And I trust that they heard something that made them say this motherfucker's guilty. However, I do not believe he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And the appeals court may also say this case was jumbled, fucked up from the beginning. Richard Allen, no, guilty, 4 counts, facing 130 years. We will know how much time he's going to get on December 20th. He's just a big goddamn dummy. So he's getting what he's deserved. I'm sorry, and a lot of you don't agree with that. That's on you. I think he's getting exactly what he deserves just for being that fucking dumb. And you could talk about the torturing and the white supremacists and all that other monkey shit you people talk about. But when he put himself at the crime, he wasn't being tortured. Right or wrong. He didn't, when those same clothes, the Carhartt jacket and all that was found, I want you to understand, this dude kept all that shit. And if he knows he cycled his shit and the bullet must have fell, he kept his gun. He kept his gun all that time. Richard Allen should have got away with this if he did it. But he's too fucking stupid and now he's got to pay the price. That's the truth. I accept this verdict. Richard Allen, guilty of all 4 counts, 130 years. We will find out on December 20th. Let me know, of course, what your thoughts are. Are you satisfied with this verdict? Or what do you think? Do you think it'll come back on appeal? What do you think? I'm satisfied with this verdict, but I'm a little bit, like I said, I wouldn't have said guilty. But I also didn't hear them phone calls. If you guys like what I do here and you find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Support the channel. I'm JB Gunner. This is JB Gunner TV. I love you guys. Oh, actually, Crime Bound. This is the wrong channel. I love you guys, man. I'll see you guys soon. Fuck.